Hey everyone, welcome to our deep dive today.
Yeah.
We're going to be like, I guess you could say, like detectives of awesome new products.
Oh, I like
You know,
that.
all those things that pop up and you're like,
Yeah,
how did this come to be?
totally.
And that's where we're going today into the world of new product development, or
Ah,
NPD.
that's right.
And we're going to be taking all of our cues from this great article from Procure for Marketing called New Product Development Process, Part 1.
Fantastic
So,
article.
so it's a process, right? It's not just like somebody has a
Right.
light bulb moment and the next thing you know, it's at the
Exactly.
store.
It's a journey.
Yeah, so let's dig in.
Okay.
So the very first step,
Well, the first step is you got to come up with ideas.
yeah, where do those come from?
They can come from anywhere,
Okay.
So internally, you've got employees, you've got R&D teams, folks that are brainstorming together.
Right, inside the company, they know the company well,
They know the company, they know what they're good at, what they're not good at.
but you can't just stay inside, right?
Oh, of course not. You got to get out there.
Yeah.
You need to be talking to your customers.
Oh yeah, customers are a gold mine.
They are.
They can tell you exactly what they...
What they want, what they don't like,
Yeah.
what they wish they had.
And also, I bet competitors are a good source of inspiration too.
Oh, absolutely. You can learn so much from your competitors.
Okay.
What are they doing right? What are they doing wrong?
Yeah, so like we've got all these ideas.
Right.
So what's next? We just start building them all.
No, not quite. There's actually a really important step before that.
Okay.
It's called idea screening.
Okay, what is that?
Basically, you got to go through all these great ideas that you've come up with
Uh.
and figure out which ones are really worth pursuing.
So how do you pick? How do you decide?
Well, there are 4 criteria that you should be thinking about.
Okay.
First, you've got to think about market demand.
Oh, right. Is there even a need for this product?
Exactly, will people actually buy it?
Right. If nobody needs it, nobody's going to buy it.
Exactly.
Okay, what's the second one?
Second, you've got technical feasibility.
Oh, so that means like, can you even build it?
Exactly. Do you have the technology, the resources, the know-how?
Like if it's too expensive or the technology's not there yet, then it's
Exactly,
a
see.
no-go.
Right. Okay, what else?
Then we have financial viability.
So will it make money?
Can you make it at a cost that makes sense and sell it at a price that people will pay and still make a profit?
Right. Business has to be a business.
That's right.
Okay, that makes sense. And what's the last one?
And last, but certainly not least, we've got strategic fit.
What does that even mean?
Well, it means, does this product actually make sense for your company?
Oh,
But
okay.
you'll align with your overall goals, your brand, your long-term vision.
So you could have a great idea for a product, but if it's not the right
Eh.
fit for the company, then it might not be.
You don't want to stray too far from what you're known for. Gotcha. Okay, so we've got all these ideas. We've
Mhm.
weeded through some of them.
Yes.
Okay, and now what?
So now we get to the fun part.
Okay.
This is called concept development and testing.
Okay, so fleshing out the idea.
You got it?
So tell me about that.
So first, you're going to really dig deep into the concept.
Uh-huh.
You're going to think about the features, the benefits, who's going to use it,
Okay.
and you might even start creating some prototypes.
I love prototypes.
Yeah, prototypes are great because they give you something tangible to look at and interact with.
Even if it's not perfect, it's like you can hold it in your hands.
Exactly. And then, of course, you need to test your concept.
Right. Put in front of people.
Exactly. And get feedback, see what they like, what they don't like.
Does it actually work the way they
Right.
thought it would?
Does it solve the problem you think it solves?
Yeah. And this feedback can be make or break.
Absolutely. This is where you can make those critical adjustments before you invest too much time and money.
Yeah, okay, so we've got our concept,
Mm-hmm.
we've tested it out, and it's looking good.
Right.
So are we ready to launch?
Almost. But there's one crucial step we need to take first.
Okay, what's that?
Business analysis.
Okay, numbers time.
Exactly. We've got to make sure this great idea actually makes financial sense.
Makes sense to me.
So we need to look at things like market analysis.
So that's like figuring out how big the market is.
Exactly. And who your competitors are.
Okay.
Then you need to do some sales forecasting.
Oh, try to predict how much you'll sell.
Exactly. It's a bit of a guessing game, but we can use data and trends to make educated guesses.
Okay, I could see how that would be tricky.
Then we have cost estimation.
How much is this all going to cost?
Right. You have to factor in everything.
think development.
Production, marketing, distribution.
Okay, don't forget about marketing.
Absolutely.
That can get pricey.
And then finally, we have profitability analysis.
So this is where we see if it's actually going to make money.
Exactly. Will your revenues exceed your costs?
Fingers crossed.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've analyzed everything,
Mhm.
and the numbers look good. So now we can...
Yeah, we get to build the thing.
This is what I've been waiting for.
I know. This is the exciting part.
This is product development.
You got it.
This is where it all comes together.
That's right. And the article breaks it down to 3 key stages.
Okay.
Prototyping, testing, and refinement. And then finally, design finalization.
Ooh, it's a whole process.
It is.
Okay, tell me more about prototyping. I'm fascinated by that.
So prototyping is where you turn your concept into an actual working model,
Okay?
something you can touch and feel or interact with if it's digital.
Right. It doesn't have to be perfect, right?
No, it's all about getting something you can test and refine.
Okay.
And that's where testing and refinement comes in.
Yeah, you try it out, you see what works, what doesn't.
Exactly. You get feedback, you make improvements, you iterate.
I imagine you go through a few versions.
You might go through many versions.
Wow. And then finally you reach design finalization.
Yes. That's when you've got a product that's ready for the market.
It must feel so satisfying to get to that point.
It does.
You've taken this idea all the way from concept to reality?
Right.
Okay, so are we ready to launch now?
Not quite. There's one more crucial step.
Oh, what's that?
Market testing.
What is market testing?
It's basically a dress rehearsal for your product launch.
Okay,
You put it out there in a small, controlled environment to see how real customers react.
so you get that final feedback before you go big.
Exactly. You can identify any last-minute issues, make adjustments, and ensure a smooth launch.
So it's like a safety net.
In a way, yes.
Wow, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From brainstorming ideas all the way to a product that's ready for market testing.
It's quite a journey.
It really is, and I'm starting to see just how much goes into bringing a new product to life.
It's a lot more than people realize.
It's not just about having a great idea, it's about
Right.
this entire process.
Exactly. It takes planning, strategy, execution, and a lot of hard work.
And this is just part one.
Right.
There's a whole world beyond this initial development phase.
Exactly. There's commercialization, launching the product into the market.
I can't wait to dive into that.
Me too. It's going to be exciting.
Okay, well, until then,
See you next time.
welcome back.
Yeah, it's great to be back.
So last time we went through that whole process of like, coming up with a product idea, developing it, getting it,
Right. Taking it all the way to market testing.
all the way to that point where it's almost ready to
Exactly.
go out into the world.
Right.
So what happens next?
Well, that's where the real fun begins. This
Okay.
is called commercialization.
Okay, so we're taking that product
Right.
that's ready to go
And we're
and launching it to the world.
We're sending it out there.
So like, how do you even begin to do that?
Well, you need a plan,
Yeah.
a roadmap.
Okay.
And that's called your go-to-market strategy.
Go-to-market strategy.
It's basically your master plan for how you're going to introduce this product to the world.
Okay, so it covers everything.
Everything.
Like marketing and sales,
Absolutely.
distribution, customer support.
All of it.
So it's making sure that every piece
Yeah.
of the puzzle is in place.
Exactly. You want a seamless experience for your customers.
Okay, so where do you even start with this go-to-market strategy?
Well, one of the most important things is your marketing plan.
Oh, right. Got to get the word out.
Absolutely. You need to tell people about your product, why they need it, how it's going to solve their problems.
And you need to make it stand out.
Right. There's a lot of noise out there.
Yeah.
You've got to cut through the clutter.
Okay, so how do you do that?
Well, you need to think about things like branding, messaging, positioning.
Okay, so like who is your target audience?
Exactly. Who are you trying to reach?
And where do they hang out?
Right. Are they on social media? Are they reading magazines? Are they watching TV?
So many places.
And then you need to craft a message that resonates with them.
that speaks to their needs.
Exactly something that's going to grab their attention and make them want to learn more.
This is where the creativity comes in, right?
Absolutely. You've got to be creative. You've got to tell a story.
Okay, so marketing's a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Well,
why-
you also need to figure out how you're going to get your product into people's hands.
Right.
That's called distribution.
Okay, so are we talking about like stores online?
Exactly. Are you going to sell directly to consumers through your website?
Okay,
Are you going to partner with retailers? Are you going to use a combination of both?
so many options.
There are a lot of options, and the best approach really depends on your product and your target market.
Okay, so like a high-tech gadget might
Right.
have a different strategy than
Right.
like a handmade craft item or
You've
stuff.
got to think about where your customers are and how they prefer to shop.
Okay, so we've got marketing, we've got distribution. What else is part of this go-to-market strategy?
Well, you also need to think about customer support.
Oh, right. What happens after someone buys the product?
Exactly. How are you going to answer their questions?
Right.
Resolve their issues, make sure they have a positive experience.
Yeah, because if they have a bad experience, they're not going to...
Exactly. You want to build loyalty. You want to create advocates for your brand.
So it's not just about selling the product.
Mhm.
It's about building a relationship with the
Exactly.
customer.
That's right.
Okay, so we've launched our product.
Yes.
We've got our marketing, our distribution, our customer support, all in place.
Mhm.
So then what?
Well, then we need to think about the product life cycle.
Oh, okay, what is that?
So the product life cycle is basically a model that describes the different stages a product goes through from its introduction to the market to its eventual decline.
So it's like a journey.
It is a journey.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about these stages.
Well, the first stage is the introduction stage.
Okay, so that's like the launch phase.
Exactly. This is when you're first introducing your product to the world.
Lots of excitement.
Lots of excitement, but also a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
You're trying to generate awareness, build momentum, get people excited about your product.
Okay, so what comes after the introduction?
Well, if things go well, you move into the growth stage.
Okay, so this is where sales start to...
Take off quantity.
Exactly. Demand is increasing. You're gaining market share.
Things are looking good.
Things are looking good.
Okay, and then...
Well, eventually the market starts to get saturated.
Okay,
Competition increases.
right.
And that's when you enter the maturity stage.
Okay, so growth slows down.
Exactly.
Things start to level off.
Right. And the focus shifts to maintaining your market share and staying profitable.
Okay, so it's like a new set of challenges
And then
in this maturity phase.
you've got to keep innovating. You've got to find ways to stay ahead of the competition.
Yeah.
You might introduce new features or improve your existing product.
Okay.
You might adjust your pricing or your marketing strategy.
So it's about staying...
Agile.
Yeah, adapting to the market.
Exactly. But eventually, I imagine even the best products
Right.
start...
Decline?
Yeah.
That's the final stage of the product life cycle.
Okay, so what happens during decline?
Well, sales start to drop off.
Okay.
Your product might become obsolete.
Right.
New technologies might emerge.
So it's like the end of an era.
In a way, yes.
But is it always the end?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
You might be able to find ways to revitalize your product,
Yeah.
or you might decide to discontinue it and focus on developing new products.
Right.
It really depends on the specific product and the market conditions.
Wow. So we've really gone through the entire life cycle of a product.
We have.
It's fascinating to see how it all unfolds.
It is, and it's a reminder that even the most successful products eventually reach a point where they need to evolve or be retired.
Yeah, nothing lasts forever.
That's right, but the journey is what's important.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe some of our listeners will be inspired to
Mm.
create the next big thing.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, this has been an incredible journey,
It has.
and we've learned so much about what it takes to bring a new product to market.
It's a complex process.
It is, but it's also incredibly exciting.
Absolutely.
Wow, we've
Yeah.
covered so much ground in this deep dive into NPD.
I know. It's amazing how much goes into bringing a new product to life.
It really is from that initial spark of an idea
Yeah,
to the marketing strategy and launch and everything in between.
whole journey.
It is a journey. And you know what I'm thinking?
What's that?
This world of NPD, it's not static.
No, it's constantly changing.
Yeah, so what are some of those things that are changing? Like, what are the trends that are
Mm-hmm.
shaping the future of how new products are developed?
Well, one of the biggest trends right now is sustainability.
Oh, yeah, that's everywhere.
It is consumers are more and more concerned about the environment,
Uh-huh.
and they want products that are eco-friendly.
So it's not just about creating a cool new gadget or app anymore.
It's about doing it in a way that's good for the planet.
So how are companies incorporating sustainability into NPD?
Well, they're thinking about it at every stage of the process, from
Uh-huh.
the materials they use to the design of the product to the packaging and even how it's disposed of at the end of its life.
So it's about the entire life cycle of the product.
Exactly. It's about minimizing waste, reducing their carbon footprint, and creating products that are built to last.
Makes sense. And what other trends are you seeing?
Well, another really exciting trend is the use of data and AI in NPD.
Oh, yeah, I've heard a lot about that.
It's really transforming the way products are developed.
So how is data being used specifically?
Well, companies are collecting massive amounts of data on customer behavior, market trends, and all sorts of other things.
Okay.
And they're using that data to make more informed decisions about what products to develop, how to design them, and how to market them.
So it's all about understanding the customer better.
Exactly. And AI is taking that to the next level.
How so?
Well, AI algorithms can analyze all that data and identify patterns and insights that humans might miss. So it can help companies to predict future trends, identify unmet customer needs, and even generate new product ideas.
That's incredible. It's like having a crystal ball.
It is pretty amazing, and AI can also be used to optimize the design process.
Okay.
So you can create products that are more efficient, more functional, and more aesthetically pleasing.
So it's not about replacing human creativity.
No, not at all.
It's about enhancing it.
Exactly. It's about giving designers and engineers powerful new tools to help them create amazing products.
Well, this has been an incredible journey.
It has.
We've learned so much about the world of new product development.
From the initial idea to the final launch and beyond.
And it's clear that NPD is a dynamic and constantly evolving field.
Absolutely. There's always something new to learn and discover.
And for our listeners out there, if you've ever had an idea for a product that you think could make a difference in the world,
Mm-hmm.
don't be afraid to pursue it.
That's right.
You never know where it might lead.
The world needs your ideas.
So keep innovating, keep creating, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
That's what it's all about.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into NPD.
It's been a pleasure.
CSCEOA